When it comes to hygiene, it turns out there's more to wiping your ass than I ever imagined. From the first documented use of soap to the role hygiene plays in religion, this video is about cleanliness. And for a starting point, know that humans ain't the only ones who like to be clean, because there's quite a bit of evidence that neanderthals were concerned about some aspects of their hygiene, and their teeth tell us a lot. For instance, grooves on their teeth indicate the use of a toothpick. Toothpicks probably made of bone. And our relatives like to look good as well, because they found combs and tweezers, seashell tweezers that they used for plucking, and yeah, I'd like to see how that was done. The history of our hygiene, human cleanliness, starts with the invention of soap, and that was from 5,000 years ago, 3,000 years before Jesus put on a sparkling white toga that Mary laundered up for him. And like everything else in human history, that happened in Mesopotamia. Just as an aside, but still related to hygiene, the earliest known toothbrush didn't appear till somebody in China thought about using their hairbrush to brush their teeth. And that didn't happen till the 15th century. Before that, people chewed on sticks or used some kind of tooth powder. The Egyptians, for instance, used a powder of crushed eggshells, pumice, and ash. Of course, we modern humans associate personal hygiene with bathing, and we all know people that we wish might bathe a little bit more frequently than what they do. But back in the day when people started running the hot water for a bath, it wasn't done for cleanliness, but it was done for religious and social practices. That's right, fuck being clean, 'cause I just want to pray to God and talk to my friends while I sat here in this tub of water. Yeah, that pretty much sums up how the history of bathing began. As a communal thing, and by communal, I mean friends and family joined in. Which brings us to religion and its role in hygiene. And the bottom line is, much of our hygienic practices are a result of religion. In fact, the influence is significant. While medical science has played an undeniable role in how we humans view our hygiene, the road to cleanliness started with purity rituals. The Old Testament has instructions on cleanliness and hygiene, and those things are also a fundamental principle in Islam. And yeah, a person's cleanliness in both Christianity and Islam are related to their spirituality, as in the cleaner you are, the closer to God you are. And yeah, now it's time to talk about the role medical science played in our modern day practices of hand washing, bathing, and ass wiping. More than any single thing, medical science, and that is science, my friends, created the world in which we live today. Far from perfect, but a fuck of a lot better than the wretched souls that lived before the introduction of germ theory in the 1860s by Louis Pasteur. Before the introduction of germ theory, it was thought disease was caused by bad water, decomposing people and plants, or whatever else they could think of. And this was known as the miasma theory. And if you think about it, the theory kind of makes sense. That is, until Louis Pasteur and science took a huge leap into the modern world of hygienics. Now, a smart person might ask, with the history of purification, communal bathing, and the like, why was germ theory even a thing if we were all clean to begin with? And that may be because communal bathing came to an end with the fall of the Roman Empire, and that was mostly due to the reduction in public investment into communal baths, as the cost became quite spendy to run one. And yeah, the Catholic Church got in on the act as well, claiming that public bathing led to immoral acts and spiritual corruption. And I do love me some clean spiritual corruption. I'm just saying. And by the time of the Black Death, otherwise known as the bubonic plague, communal bathing wasn't a thing, and that's because it was thought the hot bathing water opened the pores of our skin and allowed diseases to enter. You know, the old miasma theory. Of course, since I mentioned the bubonic plague, a disease that killed some 70 to 100 million people back in the day, and while the lack of sanitary conditions didn't cause a plague, the lack of sanitary conditions did make the Black Plague spread like wildfire. Of course, our history of hygiene isn't always a pretty one, with a lot of contaminated water supplies, garbage accumulating in the streets, overcrowding, and a lack of just good old hand washing techniques. There was also a lot of ignorance involved, like the miasma theory, and there was just a general lack of awareness of the connection between human waste and disease. I mean, people used to just throw their shit, literally, out the window into the street. The irony in all of this, way back in the day, we built our cities with sanitation in mind. Those cities of Mesopotamia, they had basic drainage and wastewater systems, clay pipes for sewage, and this was some 4,000 years ago. 2,500 years ago, the Minoans used clay sewage pipes as well pipes for drinking water, and the earliest evidence for a flushing toilet is found on the island of Crete. Last, we all know the Romans had their aqueducts to bring fresh water into their cities and to flush their sewer systems. And with the fall of the Roman Empire, well, that ushered in an age of dark days for human civilization, because for some reason all that knowledge about sanitation and hygiene was lost and forgotten. Yes, my friends, the use of toilet paper has a long, winding road to your use, so enjoy the 3-ply paper you got wrapped around your hand. So I'm thinking maybe if you know somebody that needs a hint about maybe their personal hygiene, maybe just send them the link to this video. I would. I'm just saying. Oh, man. Yeah, this is, just another video that, one of the, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to articulate how I got the idea for this video, and the simple truth is it just came to mind, I don't know why I had a hard time articulating that, but I did. But yeah, I had never known how much religion had to do and with cleanliness and our hygiene and shit. I knew all about Louis Pasteur and the germ theory and all that shit, but I didn't know shit about. I also knew, and I kind of wondered. I wonder how and why we lost that because thousands of years ago we built cities that were with sewers and wastewater runoffs and all that shit, and we lost it all. And I how did that happen? And a lot of it happened because people just didn't want to pay for it anymore. Of course, there's a lot of other reasons for it, and it all came together with the fall of the Roman Empire, and then the Dark Ages hit us, and we were just fucked. But anyway, thanks for watching. I'm out of here. Have a good one, my friends. For the day, and I'm gonna go take a bath.